Hey guys, are you like me and you get frustrated when you're hand loading your ammo and you have to stop and put more primers into your primer pickup tubes? And it's a process. It hinders everything. I often wonder how many of the rounds could I get hand loaded in an hour if I didn't have to stop to refill my primer pickup tubes and then install them into my press. It does hinder and slow down the process, doesn't it? Well, this is a product that Frankfurt Arsenals came out with that you may be interested in. I want to share with you my thoughts on it, my experiences with it, and give you some opinions on it, and maybe hopefully save you some money, time, and trouble as well. So let me pan back, give you an idea, share with you what all comes in this purchase when you buy it. You have first here the actual vibrating mechanism, or the handle, if you will, and then it also comes with a primer flipper tray, and it's oriented to where you have. Let me see if I can get this to focus on it. You have two ends that the primers can actually slide out of. This it was indicated by an S on one end, and then the L on the other end, one for large, of course, and one for small. One thing about this primer flipper tray that I do not care for is the lid itself. It doesn't snap on very tight. It doesn't snap on very securely. It's very easy to come off. However, other than that, I guess it works pretty good. The bottom is another issue, and I don't know how they could remedy this, but I wish they would come up with some way of doing it. If you'll notice, the lid actually has right here a portion, a little corner made onto it, and this is to block whichever end you're not using at the time. I wish they could have incorporated that onto the bottom half, and I'll share with you why here in a minute. RCBS's flipper trays actually has this on my hand priming tool, and it's just a little mechanism that slides back and forth and block that off. I don't know why they couldn't have done it that way, and the reason I say that is when you put your primers in here and you're trying to orient them in the correct direction, these things are open. Before you put the lid on it, they're open, and so they can slide out. And the way I'll put my finger here, block one side, and then keep it angled so it doesn't go up this way, and if it comes this way, my finger will block them. So anyway, you get the flipper tray with the kit and the handle that vibrates, and then you also get two of these tubes, filler tubes, one for, of course, small primer, one for large, and those tubes come with these little rubber hoses is all it is, a little section about an inch long, and this is supposed to be like a connector that would connect this filler tube with the filler tube on your press, or if you have it off your press, whatever. So you can fill this tube up, pull the pin, drop them into your primer to fill up too. But let me put some primer in here and just kind of show you the thing in action. It is not fail proof. I mean, I expected when I bought this thing for it to be, just 100% reliable and basically idiotic proof, because I need things that are idiotic proof. But anyway, like I said, hold your finger over one end and keep those from sliding out on you. Once you get them all oriented, if we can ever get that last one, there we go. Then you want to cover this up, and I'm using small primer, so I'm gonna block the large side and leave the small side open. Okay, and of course they're indicating that is nice. Now you have to first put the primer flipper tray into the handle. I don't know why, but you cannot put this pickup tube in here, or the filler tube, into the mechanism until you first have the flipper tray in place. If you try to put it in and then put the flipper tray in place, the flipper tray won't fit. And I'm assuming it's because it's going up in there and engaging up against that flipper tray and allowing it to tighten everything up. Because right here in this area, well, there's primers going to be sliding down into this chute. It has to have a little bit of downward force or tension on it to compress that area so that those primers do not turn over or get sideways in there. So I'm going to angle the camera down so maybe you can get you a view of this thing in action. And anyway, you need to hold it on a slight angle and then pull the trigger. And you'll see that if you hold it still, it won't work properly. You have to kind of rock it back and forth, which is not a big ordeal. I'm okay with that. And most of the time, it'll do just fine. There's one hanging up a little bit on it. And sometimes you can just give it little taps like that. It seems to make it work pretty well. If you can hold it still if you want to do it that way, and then just give it little taps. But anyway, pretty quick and not a bad deal. It's just my biggest issue with this is it's $59.99 last time I checked, and that to me is just not a good value for what you're receiving in return. But it may be for you. Now, people say, well, why'd you buy it? This was actually given to me as a gift. I think my wife purchased this for me, and I do a lot of reloading, so it is nice to have it. But like I said before, I don't know that it's worth that much money. But it may be for you. If you do a lot of reloading and you are continuously having to stop and refill those primer tubes, this just may be the answer for you. It does work, but don't expect to get this thing and then just automatically be able to fill up tubes and never have any issues with it whatsoever. You'll have to kind of play around with it a little bit. But for the money, that's my issue with it. For that kind of money, I expect something to just be flawless. You know what I'm saying? And with the primer flipper tray, I think could have been designed a little bit better, but it does function the way it is just fine. You just need to keep in mind those ends are open, those primers could slide out on you. My thing is, for now having used it and the amount of money that it would take to buy one, I think when we actually got this one, it was not the price, not that expensive. It was a brand new product just coming out, and it wasn't that much. But right now the price is up at $60, and I don't know that I would pay that again for it. But you know what I'm saying? If you're doing a lot of reloading, it may be worth that for you. But just wanted to give you my opinions on it, and some tips on how to load those filler tubes up. So happy reloading. This is Preacher Truth signing off. God bless America, and put your faith in Jesus alone.